Whew, it worked. Okay. Wow. That was frustrating. Of course. I'm Brad Utterstrom. You are watching 100 Days of Sketch Cards. Once I get everything set up here and get organized. Ooh, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? It sure is. 100 Days of Sketch Cards, day 64. I had this all set up, I thought. And today I will be drawing a sketch card of Aaron Paul as Jesse Pinkman from the popular TV show Breaking Bad. I started this one on an artcast recently, and I think it was the one I did yesterday. Sorry, I'm not quite ready to draw here. Which did not get posted. It got turned into a time-lapse thing instead, or part of it. Anyway, I did yesterday a full-length artcast video, and then I decided the whole video was too wobbly. So with my new webcam setup, I'm struggling with that. So I'm going to try and keep it from wobbling so much today and see if that helps a little bit. I was like, man, I did like an hour of drawing on camera and talking. And I was like, well, now what am I going to do if I don't keep it? Am I going to just say all the same stuff, more or less, the next time I do an artcast? Kind of. I don't have that much different stuff to say today. But I also won't remember what the heck I was saying. I kind of was jotting down some ideas of things I want to talk to. But I gotta tell you, I've been so busy and overwhelmed with art lately that it's like it gets jumbled. I can't remember what I've said or haven't said, or whether I said something in an artcast I didn't end up posting, or whether I said it on air or off air, like I'm in a conversation with somebody, or like I do the morning artcast show that I did during spring break with Jeff Lafferty, Artist Hangout. There's usually a bunch of time after the show goes off air that we still sit around drawing and talking, whoever's in there. So then it's like, well, I know I said this, but did I say it on video, or did I say it to those guys then? Or it just gets kind of confusing. So I'm sure I'll repeat myself a lot, but if any of you guys are actually I doubt you guys will notice, because I figure people watch not all of these. You know what I mean? They might catch one, they might see a few of my daily videos, but there's only a couple people probably who are watching them all in succession. So I don't think I need to worry too much about that anyway. I don't want to do too much with the multi-liner here, but I think because he's so mustachy and beardy, I actually kind of will, I think, now that I think about it. I've been trying to minimize that and only do the really important things, actually put a line, the multi-liner, and just go straight in with the markers as much as I can. But when it comes to facial hair, that is a spot where you do need to draw it in, with the liner. So I did mention, I do know this because I did shoot a mini update yesterday. Well, it ended up being like 12 minutes, but you know what I mean. It wasn't an artcast. It was just the camera staring at my bald head while I talk. And I mentioned my big news, which was Star Wars. That's the biggest of the big news. I signed on for 2 new sets, but I'm especially excited for Star Wars. No offense to the other set that I'm doing too. I'm always excited to start with a new company, but Star Wars is like the big, it's got a big following. I love Star Wars. I mean, I was born in '76, so that was like right around the time that Star Wars started coming out and got all popular, and I had all the action figures, and I love them. I still have them. I was actually gonna get a couple out. Dang it, I forgot. They're not here, so I don't have them. But I was at my mom's today, so I was gonna grab a couple and have them like, ta-da! Here's Star Wars. Ooh, that lights. There we go. It's still pretty bright, huh? Yeah, I love Star Wars, man. And so I've only done a couple Star Wars sketch cards. Couple? I haven't even done a couple. I did like that. When I very first got my Copic markers, I did this Yoda. Topps sent me, I signed on for the UFC set, and I was like, what the heck is sketch cards? And they sent me a sample, or two, I think maybe a couple. But I wanted to see what it was, so I took one of those. So it was a Star Wars one that they sent me, even though it was the UFC guys that did it. Oops, that's not wide enough. So I drew this Yoda on there. So it was an official sketch card from Star Wars, but, you know, they wrote in big bold letters on the back sample, and I couldn't, like, try and sell it as if I was on the set, because I wasn't. They were just showing me what the cards were, which is cool of them. But I did want to draw on it and see what it was like, and so I did kind of a quick, not nearly as detailed as what I usually do, a Yoda. And I also had just got my very first basic set of Copic markers. I hadn't got got a big collection of them yet, so I think it was a 12 pack. And so I really only used like the green, the brown, and the yellow. And I don't know if I even used it anymore. It was very limited in the colors I used. And I don't know why I'm going on and on about how little Star Wars I've drawn before. But I haven't drawn much Star Wars. That was, I think, my only Star Wars sketch card. Oh, I did a Vader too on the other one. I got two blanks, and I did a Vader that was he was all rainbowy, which I kind of like that idea, but I really rushed it, and I wouldn't say that it was great or anything. In fact, I don't think I ever even put that one up on my website. I did give it to my buddy Darth Gregor, who's a huge Vader fan, hence the name Darth. He's a real good friend of mine, and a big MMA card collector, and he collects a lot of cards, and I knew it was something he would appreciate, and also, like, never sell or anything, so, you know what I mean, because I can't have it get out there. It was just a sample for me to try things out. It looks a lot better now that I put I was worried that the likeness wasn't very good, but a lot of times that happens with just the pencil part. Like, it doesn't really seem to hit the likeness yet, and then once the shading starts to go in, the likeness starts to take shape. So if there's not a likeness in the pencil portion, I don't freak out about it or whatever. I usually I do take extra care to make sure that things are in the right spot, because if they're not, sometimes that's why the likeness isn't really working out. If they are, then I know the likeness will come once I start getting the shadow areas in. Sorry, my table's at a slight tilt. I noticed my whole last video wasn't very focused very well, and it seems like this one's headed that way too, and I don't really know why. I would like for it to focus better. Should I even bother messing with it? Do I need to put it down closer? It's going to bounce back up. I don't know if that did anything. Sometimes giving it something else to focus on will help it. I don't know, though. It's just not coming into focus at all, is it? Oh well. It's good enough for you guys. It is Easter Sunday. I went to my mom's. She cooked like a whole turkey dinner. It was awesome. Turkey dinner is my favorite meal of the year. Like Thanksgiving meal, you know? Heck yeah. Ironically, my least favorite part might be the turkey. It's not the turkey that I love. It's all the other stuff. Like I make a green bean casserole, which I like. Sweet potatoes. My mom does like this. We never called it candied sweet potatoes, but that's what it is. It's like yams that are very sweet. I love stuffing. I love her gravy. I love mashed potatoes. All that. So I stuffed myself like crazy. And this is hilarious. I'm 39 years old, but I'm a big kid at heart. And my mom did an Easter egg hunt for me. And the roommate, she has a roommate too, who's like this dude. He's a really nice guy. But he lives there. He's in his 50s, I think. And she's like, all right, Brad, Dave, I have something special for you. Here, go do an Easter egg hunt. I kicked his ass. I got 6 and he got 3. And that's only because I let him have the last one. It was like we both kind of found it at the same time. And I was closer, and I was like, you can have it. So it was fun. What I love about Easter egg hunts is not actually the Easter egg part. It's the idea of it. When I was a kid, we would go. My dad was a big golfer. I hope I haven't told this story because it is one of my favorite stories. My dad was a big golfer, and so we would go. We had a cabin up near Mount Hood that we would go to once a month for the weekend. And we would have this like little fun tournament. I have told this story. Whoever finds the most golf balls in the woods, you know, at the golf course, gets a milkshake. Yay! It was between me and my brother, and but the truth was everybody gets a fucking milkshake. You know, it was a fun way to make it into like an Easter egg hunt. So hunting for golf balls was always fun. And yeah, we had a blast with that. And even as an adult, I totally dig that. I've only been golfing. I'm not a golfer. I've only been, I don't know, maybe 5 times as an adult. And what happens is when everybody else is like hits their ball up the middle of the course and they go trekking up to go get it, I like head over to the sideline and I walk up the edge and look for golf balls on the edge of the grass as I'm walking by. Because I like that part. I like that more than the golfing, honestly. So that's been kind of fun. And in fact, today I saw a golf ball in the yard when I was doing the Easter egg hunt. And I mentioned that. My mom thought it was funny because she remembers the good old days too. She said that one didn't count though. Oop, a little too bold there, but it'll work out. No worries there. I'm getting a lot of commissions these days, which I'm really happy about. It's keeping me busy. Like, today just flew by. I know Easter was a part of it, right? It's just like, just the fact that I had to go to my mom's. I didn't stay very long, just a couple hours. But it still ends up, it's like a half-hour drive back. It still ends up taking up a lot of hours in the day, and I feel like I didn't waste the day very much today. And yet here it is 9:30 before oh shit, it's 10? Almost 10. It is 10 now, but it was almost 10 before I even started drawing, so I don't know. I got up early. I did have a couple other things I had to do today, so I did them earlier. This one doesn't have a heck of a lot. Like the shading in the face for the most part is quite subtle. Maybe that's why it seems it's coming slowly, and that's okay. So I did, this is a weird thing I did. This actually took a little bit of time too, and I'm not quite sure what triggered it or started it, but it'll kick off something I was going to talk about anyway. You know, the ultimate goal is to make a living as an artist. That's what I would like to do. That's my ultimate goal. And I just actually never really added up like my month to month what I make or anything like that. I've not been good at keeping track of things. And just in this year, basically, I actually just looked it up and kind of got a ballpark for what I'm making, and it's promising if I can keep this pace up. I'm not going to say any specifics or whatever, but it feels like if I had more hours in the day, i.e. didn't have a day job, I feel like I could do it. Now is not a good time to quit. I'm very least, going to finish out this school year. Got like 2 months, 2.5 months or something left in the school year. I'm definitely going to make it. But for next year, I don't know. I want to seriously consider trying a year of art full time. And I just watched a video on this goes right into another video another topic I wanted to get to. I've been watching a lot of cool videos from other artists. And one of the ones that I stumbled upon a couple weeks ago and now got a little more hooked on is Will Terrell. He's a real popular comic guy. He does these pretty awesome cartoony, like he sits around at Walmart or anywhere you're going to see interesting characters and picks somebody out and draws them, and really exaggerates certain things. And I think it basically would classify as caricatures what he's doing, but they're really cool. And he's got a buttload of followers and subscribers and stuff on YouTube. And at first I was like, man, what's the big deal with this guy? Why does he have so many subscribers? And his art's awesome, so don't get me wrong. He's got a pretty cool and unique style and all that. But I didn't feel like it was just the art, And after listening to a couple of his videos, I do get it. He's a real likable guy. And not only that, so he has good stories to tell and things like that. But he's got really good advice, and he's he's very good at the motivational type talk. He'll pick a topic for the day and he'll draw some lady petting a frog or whatever. That wasn't one, but he likes old ladies and he always seems to put animals with them. But then he'll talk about, for a half hour, basically, talk about how to stay motivated day after day doing the same thing or whatever. And it's really good. So I definitely would recommend, especially if you're an artist and you're checking my videos out to hear me blabber about art. Will Terrell, check him out. He has really good stuff to say about making it as an artist. I'm drawing on, what's this stuff called? Illustration board. And I don't know if I love it for markers, but I've done it a few times and I feel like it's hit and miss. I've had a couple come out really well and a couple come out not so well. And I think it has to do with the way it takes the markers, but I haven't pinpointed what it is I like and or dislike about it, if that makes any sense. Kind of envy those artists who are observant to stuff like that. A lot of times I'm not. I've drawn on this stuff many times, in Bristol many times, and I still don't really know what makes them different to work on. If that makes any sense. Why is this better at some things and worse at other things? And there are reasons it is, and I just haven't really figured it out. Yeah. So let's see, back to making money with art, making it work. Where was I going to go with that? I found today at my mom's, I've been looking for this, and it finally just sort of showed up. I think she probably found it and then put it with some of my stuff. But I had a pile of a bunch of original drawings, pastel, MMA stuff. Like when I first started getting back into drawing in about 2009, I did a series of 10 or 15 or 20 pastel drawings and some sketch cards. But all of the pastel drawings that I hadn't sold were in this, stack together, and I found them. And I wanted to try out different selling techniques on eBay, mostly on eBay, but I could certainly open it up to more than just eBay too. But like, how important is it what category you put things in? For instance, I put most of them in the MMA trading card category because the people who are looking up my art online, it's because I've done sketch cards in UFC products. So my UFC fan base is the biggest. So even though it's like the trading card section of eBay, I think that's the best place for me to post these, right? So I tried that, but then there are other, like, there's an artwork direct from the artist. There's a category for that. So I threw one in there just to test it. I put a bunch of them on eBay earlier tonight. 5 maybe. And I tried to do something slightly different with each auction to get a test, to test out a feel for what's different, why, what works better, and things like that. I'm trying to learn so I can, improve my sales on eBay on stuff. And none of them got immediate attention. And I've noticed this lately. A lot of my stuff is not getting a lot of views. Whereas if I put the right item up, like for instance, if a set just comes out and I have artist proofs, usually, like my UFC artist proofs, oh man, I would get so many views, so many hits right away. And so it's like I almost kind of expect something similar, and then it's not even close to that, And I made a big goof, possibly, we'll see. I have had this bite me in the arse before, and I'm sure some other people out there are going, when I say this, they're going, oh no, what did you do? The worst thing you can do. I picked one of the ones that I thought was better. John Bones Jones. He's a current UFC champ. And it's, a nice drawing, I think. And I was like, this one has a chance to sell better than most of the other ones. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to put it at 99 cents and let people bid on it. And I posted it up, and I immediately, within like 15 or 20 minutes, I saw that it only had a couple of views even. And I was like, oh god, this is way too risky. And so I go in there to edit the listing, and I'm like, nah, let's switch this to whatever. I'll starting bid. I was going to raise the starting bid, I think, or do something different. And as soon as I clicked the button to do that, it said, you cannot edit the listing or edit the price once a bid has taken place. And I was like, but there's no bids. So I refreshed the page, and somebody had thrown in a 99-cent bid. So I'm like, no, I'm screwed. Now I'm risking that it goes for 99 cents. And I sure hope it doesn't. I mean, the truth is, right now, my price, if I did a drawing that size, would be $150. So that would be my ultimate goal, would be to get $150 for it. I don't necessarily think I will, because doing a commission is a lot different than doing a painting or drawing and then trying to sell it. And he's not Ronda Rousey. If I had just put a Ronda Rousey up, that might almost guarantee to sell for the big bucks. But Bones has, I think more people hate him than like him, possibly. So we'll see. I'm a little worried that that's going to end up selling for like $7 or something. It's going to make me go, oh my God, I can't believe I made that mistake again. Because I have made that mistake before. Not so much with art, but just with other stuff. I put, a big old huge collection of something, some toys or miniatures or whatever. Let's say worth $80. I'm like, I hope I'll get $60 or $80 out of this. And then it ends up going for $3.45. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, you could take any, one thing out of there, one action figure or miniature or whatever, or card or whatever it is that I'm just using this as an example. It's not really a specific thing that happened that I'm thinking of that would be worth more than that, and I'm like, So I don't want that to start happening with my art. For sure, I don't. But at the same time, I feel like the only way to learn some of these things is to test the waters. What categories work better? What does it work better to let people bid but start it at like $50 and hope it gets up to $100? It seems like when I do that sort of thing, if I put a starting bid that's a little bit higher, a little bit like that, then it's like one person bids and I end up selling it for the minimum, if I'm lucky. So if I'm looking to get 100, I probably shouldn't start it at 50, because I'll probably get 50. I don't know. I'm trying to figure all that stuff out. I'm talking out loud about it. But I don't really know the answers yet on that sort of thing. That is something I'm messing around with, toying with. I might do that background. That's kind of cool with the sky. I usually just sort of fudge the background, meaning do whatever I want. But I might actually kind of use the background on this. I do that sometimes too. If it's something I like the look of, like I did a baseball one yesterday, and the guy pretty much asked for it too, but I actually kind of drew in the crowd and that sort of thing, whereas sometimes I'll just do weird random marks and colors in the background to do it that way. I'm getting all kinds of that's the cap. I was like, I'm getting all kinds of weird shadows that aren't usually on there. But I kind of am too, anyway. I feel like this eye isn't... Oh, that's better, actually. I feel like this eye wasn't quite as accurate as the other one. Gotta concentrate for a second. Sorry about that. Anyway. Oh, I have a little cheat sheet notepad, like people who write notes on their hand, like, oh God, what was I going to say? I have a little notepad over here with just a couple notes, like, well, I could talk about this, I could talk about this. So it reminds me of things, because I get myself sidetracked and go off topic. I signed up for that Star Wars set, but I also signed on for another new set that's exciting, and different, and it's called Calendar Girls. And it'll be cool, I think. You get, from what I've seen, what little I've seen, I have not had a lot of experience with this type of set, or with this company. I don't have any experience. But it seems like you get a wide variety of art in these type sets. You get the super comic-y looking ones with like exaggerated giant boobs and things like that. But I think I can still pretty much do my realistic style. And have it fit and work well in the set. I hope, anyway. So I got on that one, and I just want to kind of test and see how that goes. So I'm excited for that. It's new and different for me, and it should be really cool, I think. And the other thing is, none of these are super duper tight deadlines. So I should be able to I will have no problem getting them all done. But I know that. But I should also still have enough room to take commissions. And since my commissions seem to be increasing quite a bit lately, I thought that was really important. And the other thing is there's potential for new sets to come along that I don't want to miss either. Speaking of official sets, also the Pastime presidential set that I drew a couple months ago, because I was posting those at the very start of 100 Days of Sketch Cards when I was on 28 days later, which was February. So I was drawing those. Like, I feel like one of my first or second video was me showing those cards. And that set had been pushed back, and there wasn't a lot of news coming out, and the website went down for a while, and it just was looking kind of scary, like something was not going to work out with it. And the set is now out. I still never heard anything, but one of my things popped up, one of my sketch cards popped up on eBay and a bunch of others, and they're starting to sell. So that's cool. I was a little worried, and I've worked for that company before and had positive experiences, so I wasn't getting myself too worked up or worried about it, because I know the guy's a good guy, and that he came through when I worked for him on previous sets. It was a great experience. So, but I was starting to wonder a little bit, because the date had been pushed back, and then I think the new date that was given had gone by, and there was still no news and no anything, and now they're out. So awesome. I really hope I get my artist proofs soon, because when a set first comes out, that is the hot spot. That's the time that, it's theoretically better to be selling the artist proofs. So I want to be able to post like, hey, I've got artist proofs available of these presidential ones. And I know a couple people that had said they wanted one. I don't know how serious they were about it. I feel like I'm dinking around and not making any progress on this. Is that true? It looks okay. It just doesn't look super detailed yet. And I feel like if I take this video and go back 15, 20 minutes, it looks almost exactly the same as it did then. I hope not. Another artist. Sorry, I'm gonna wobble a little bit here because I gotta turn this off. Some of these songs are just so much louder than others. I don't know how to tell what it's gonna be, so I'll just switch it and go back. All right. Oh, and completely lose my train of thought. Once again, what else is new, right? I know a topic I was going to get into, and I'm not really even sure what it is I want to say about it, is the problem. Or whether like I said, I already kind of did this, not this artcast, but I did an artcast yesterday that I didn't end up keeping. I need to find the right way to do these subtle shadows in the face. Anyway, it's artist's block. And for me, the way artist's block usually comes out, I feel like is different than other artists. I feel like a lot of artists are like, oh, I don't know what to do next. I can't think of anything or whatever. I don't have that problem. For me, artist block kind of rears its ugly head like this. I will get a commission or have something I'm working on, and I'm not quite sure what direction to take it in. So then I'm like, I'm just stuck. And a good example of that is the Mayweather-Pacquiao puzzle sketch card that I have been working on and am almost finished with now. But it's still, it needs a little work, and I'm, even in the last day, I'm back at the artist block stage with it. I started that one several weeks ago. I did a good portion of it on a morning artist hangout with Jeff Lafferty, and I wasn't crazy with the direction it was going. I'm not quite sure why. It was coming together slowly, so I felt like I needed to put it away and draw on it off camera, right? So I could bring it together and get it working and looking good. And then I figured I'd put in a little work that way and then go back on camera and start working on it again on camera. And that idea, everything I just said, put me into a bit of an artist block with it. I was a little bit hesitant to work on that, and so when I would sit down to draw, I would work on something else instead. And so it sat there in that same unfinished state for like a couple weeks before I ever picked it back up. And finally I was like, man, I got it. I still have this one. I was sifting through some cards that were in various states of being finished, and I was like, here's this one. It just got kind of pushed back because I wasn't sure what to do with it. So I finally picked it up and got working on it and got it looking good, and I thought it was coming along, and I knew it would. I just had to put in the time. But then I hit another block with the background, and that's kind of where I am now. The buyer had some ideas on what he wanted the background to convey, and I'm not really sure I can have the same. I'm not sure I have the same vision he has. Meaning, I hear what he's saying about how he wants it, but when I kind of tried to implement that, it didn't really seem to work. And I think it looks okay, but I also think it's not really what he was hoping for, and I want to make the customer happy too. And so I just need to touch up the background a little bit at this point, but I'm still a little bit stuck on it. So I guess what I'm saying is that's what artist block looks like for me. I put something aside or put it off for the longest time because I'm not quite sure usually which direction to take it. And I just need to get in there and do it. And the other one that throws me off, and I've said this a few times already, so here it goes again, is doing anything. Right now I'm just full on sketch cards. So anything other than sketch cards seems to throw me off. And I hesitate. So I've got a couple requests right now for larger drawings, and there's nothing out of the ordinary or overly difficult or whatever, and yet I'm just like, no, I have all these sketch cards to do, so I'm going to keep working on them for right now instead. And that kind of sucks. So I try and be open about that and say, like the one guy especially, he knows. He's like, I know you're trying to do more sketch cards and less larger drawings, but I really want this large drawing. And then something came up today with my buddy Darth Greger. They're going to work out kind of a trade or something. So I'm going to do that one. He's a repeat customer. I want to keep him happy for sure. But I hope you guys kind of understand that when I talk about that. Like, those are the type of things that keep me a little stagnant sometimes. And so because of things like that, I sometimes will end up working out of order, meaning somebody might buy something or commission me for something, and I go in and jump that ahead because of something, because I feel like, I feel confident about how this one's going to come together, and like this is a good example right here, actually. I felt pretty confident about this one. I didn't really feel like, I felt like doing an artcast where I can talk and draw at the same time. And I've mentioned this before, but I have much easier time with that sort of thing when I'm doing a grayscale drawing like this. I don't have to think about color. I can just think about value, and that's much simpler in terms of what you're thinking about. I don't know that I still seem to put a couple hours into a grayscale drawing usually, or maybe I'm speeding up a little bit on the grayscale, but I notice it's a little quicker than color. But sometimes color, like I've done a couple color ones that were much quicker. And then I've done some, like the Mayweather-Pacquiao thing, that it just seems like I have to keep working it and reworking it to try and get the colors that I want. And so it's just a little more complicated to do color work. Color is very complicated. And I'm not somebody who traditionally has had a lot of color, whatever, what am I trying to say? I feel like I've never had a great grasp on color. I love color, but I'm not one of those artists who's like, I know that I want this color here and it should be in this amount because of the other complementary colors that are in here, or whatever. Does that make sense? I just end up toying with it and messing with it until I get something that I like. And it takes a lot more time and experimentation to do it that way. And the bottom line is that I'm still pretty confident usually that the end result's going to turn out fine. I've had very few times where I completely botched a piece because I couldn't get the colors to work. But at the same time, I don't just go in and go, I couldn't really do a tutorial for you guys on how to do a color piece. I can do it on camera, like I've done a couple on time-lapse that are full color. I just did one yesterday. But I couldn't go, okay, we're doing a color portrait, so I'm going to start with this color. I do a layer of that there, and then I'll go a little darker here, and then the shadows are going to be like this. I just don't do it that way. I end up having to test out all those different colors several times, it seems like, before I get it to where I want it. So it's definitely an area I could improve, if for nothing else, then I went a little dark there, than to save time on, if I get a deeper understanding of color, I would save a lot of time. Wow. I think I just messed that eye up. Luckily, you can just erase markers. It's really easy. It's like easier than erasing pencils. I'm being sarcastic. But there are usually ways to fix it. A lot of times you can go over with white like my white gel pen. If I botch something, like this eye, there's something kind of wonky that I just did. I made it, it's too dark, so I'll put the white in a couple areas, and then go back over it with something else so it's not just white. That's one way you can kind of do it. Sure, there are other ways too. Boy, was I getting to any sort of point on the color rant that I just went off on? Oh, I was talking about artist block and jumping. Sometimes changing up the order in which I do things so that even though I just want you guys to be understanding about why I don't always do things in order, and I don't ever want a customer to feel like gypped because I'm putting theirs off. But usually if I am putting it off, it's because there's something about it that's holding me up as an artist. And I think there's two different ways to look at it. One, sometimes you just need to, at some point, go, all right, forget it, I'm just going to go in and do it anyway. But sometimes it takes a while to let ideas come to you. And I'm not somebody who is great at forcing stuff like that, I guess. So I end up maybe sometimes waiting too long or putting too much into that. Like, okay, I'll figure it out if I put it off for a couple days. Sometimes it works out that way, but I just remember the other one I got from my buddy Jimmy, who wants a wrestler tattoo. That's going to be tricky. I did try and tell him no promises. It seems simple enough. I'm not going to do the tattoo, but he wants to get a tattoo, and so he wanted to have me sketch it out. So that he could take it in and say, tattoo it so it looks just like this. But it wasn't, it's a little bit of a tricky project, so we'll see. That's one I definitely just got to do, because it would require some sketching and brainstorming rather than just drawing it straight away, if that makes any sense. I'd have to do like a couple thumbnails or whatever and get it figured out. And I can do that, but it's not the way I'm used to working. I want to change that. I want to get to where that is how I am used to working. I saw another artist that I was watching. I wish I would have wrote his name down. He was really cool. And he had he's way better at sketching. He just he would just start sketching, and he was sketching the whole time that he was talking to show you certain things. But when he finished one of his drawings, I was like, well, this guy's not better than me. I would have drawn it more accurately, but he wasn't necessarily going for that 100% accuracy or likeness or whatever. And I kind of like that. Not that I want my drawings to be less accurate, but I mean, he had other things he was focusing on. He was focusing on understanding where the light hits and how to, replicate the way the light hit the form. I watched a couple of his. And so I just want to I wish there were more hours in the day. I want to put more time into being able to draw that way. Where you just kind of start sketching. He had a thing. You might be able to look him up this way, and I'll try and remember to mention his name. Put it in the liner notes or whatever. I've never actually done that, so I don't know what it means. But he had a thing that was like the 5 basic steps of a drawing. So he drew the same drawing of this seated figure. And the first one was real gestural, like 30 seconds, get the motion of it down, of the forms. And the next was like block it into shapes like cubes and circles and squares, kind of and then like start to build up areas of mass. And I don't really remember what they all were. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that's the way he draws, and I do not draw that way. But I think there's a lot of value in that. But that's because I'm working from photographs almost all the time, because I'm doing either sports art or fan art type. I hate to call it fan art, but you know it is. This is fan art, right? I can't get this dude to come sit for me in my studio. So this is the best I can do if I want to draw him. Yeah. So anyway, that guy's name was like Rocco something. Maybe. Oh, I said I was going to try and do that deserty background, so let's try it. Let's go. One thing I've learned a little bit about with the backgrounds, you don't want them to be super detailed. You want to get that kind of fuzzy look so that it's out of focus looking, and so I'll try and show that here as I draw it. I did that. That was something I noticed when I was doing the baseball one yesterday. Chris Bryant. You know, with the background, I really tried to not draw in every detail of the background. Just little pink skin here, because you can see this guy has a, you know, there's his face or whatever. A lot of blue in the background because it was the Cubs. So everybody in the crowd was wearing blue. I mentioned Will Terrell, and Jeff Lafferty, with his old videos, used to do this really well too. Had a topic, like I'm going to talk about this today, and I'm going to stay on topic, and that sort of thing. I should do that more, because I end up covering all these different topics and going in all these different directions, because it's the way my mind works or whatever. And it's so jumbled, and it's like, well, now I can't talk about that topic next time because I already covered it today, or not covered it, but touched on it or whatever. So, anyway, that's just kind of silly. See, this is what I mean with the illustration board. I don't know if you can see it on the video, probably not, but it looks like, it just looks dirty as I'm drawing it. Oh, see that? Now you know what I'm talking about. It has this like dirty feel to it. And then I think what it is when the marker dries, it cleans up a lot. But it's kind of awkward to work on for that reason. I'll go darker there too. I'll go darker as I move up. Get to 2. This is a 1. I can go a little darker back there, but I don't want to go too dark back there. I don't want it to draw away from, I don't want it to take much attention away from the figure, you know. Yeah, let's go one darker, why not? This is a shortcut I want to start taking more often, rather than building up from 1 to 2 to 3. Look, if it's dark enough for 3, go in with the 3. Especially in a big, wide background area like this. Why not? You don't really need to build it up. Now, when you're working in color, you kind of do. In fact, I almost made it look like there's a way cooler cloud back there, huh? Maybe I'll leave it that. Does that look better or worse? Maybe better. I don't know if I want it. It's a little too even. Now I'm going to botch it if I'm not careful. Yeah, that's going to be an easy fix if I decide I don't like it. That's another thing with me as an artist. I feel like it's a weakness, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something a lot of artists have. But I need to let something sit and look at it with fresh eyes before I decide if I really like it. That happens a lot. And I tend to do that in steps too. And I think there's something to be said for, oops, bumped my thing, and that's all messed up. For artists who don't do that, who are way more spontaneous and just go right for it. I'd like to get a little more spontaneous, but I don't want to get too caught up in that because I have a style that I like and things like that. This is where it would be nice to be in an art class again and get immediate feedback from classmates. Do you see anything that needs to be touched up? Because I only have one set of eyes. That is something that happens when you're using markers and you touch that. That's what happened up in the cloud over here too. And you touch some of the ink, like from the multiliner. This weird smudge happens. Now that actually looks like it's fine, like a shadow on the neck. So I'm not going to worry about it, but let's see, there's got to be some more places I can put highlights in, right? A couple little ones in the eye. Oh, getting pretty close to wrapping this one up, guys. I might get my Star Wars blanks very soon. I'm hoping. And I know at least one guy who already got them. I signed on a little late, so I wasn't surprised I didn't get them the first day. But I'm hoping that means they're not too far behind, too. So I might be doing a Star Wars artcast before too long. Let me know who you want me to draw. And I also notice I'm getting a lot of repeat commissions, and I guess that's okay. Really repeat, actually, now that I say that out loud. I did the Chris Bryant yesterday, and I immediately got another request for another Chris Bryant. That's cool. I'm getting a lot of Ronda Rousey requests. And I even got one more that I'm not going to mention. But it's even more of a, repeat. Alright. Final touch-ups might come later, who knows. Where am I at? 1 hour. Wow. Almost on the dot. 1 hour plus, I had already done the pencil drawing. This looks like a good place to sign here. Ta-da! Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now I'm going to have to go watch Breaking Bad again. I haven't watched that in a long time. That's my 100 days video for today. 100 days of sketch cards. Any last things I need to talk about? I guess not. Have a good one. Happy Easter. Hope you all got lots of eggs in your Easter basket. And I will see you on the flip-flop. Hippity-hoppity, flippity-floppity.